and he's yet to send us, we got a new slide that's missing, replace the slides that crack, get some surface games, like music equipment's real big now, and that's something that a kid at any age or any ability can do. To try and, make it a little ADA accessible, plus spruce it up a little bit, kind of the route we've been looking. But everything is on the table at this point. I want to hear everyone's feedback on what we want to do.
Ryan, are any of these grants specific in terms of who the vendor needs to be?
No, and the interesting thing is the guy at Landscape Stripes, so Ventura is they already went through the process being state approved. So you actually don't have to do a bidding process because they're already state approved, right? The state already sees their list prices and agreed to their prices and calls them fair, is what he told me. Can't fix it, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, because they're modular systems, but they're all designed a little different based on the company. So they can retrofit our old system with their new stuff, where I don't know that any playground manufacturer can do that. But
Secret Heights.
I mean, I think it's in our best interest to look around and price things out. I never think it's a good idea.
We might even end up with a
Price.
phase 1, 2, and 3. To really achieve what we might want.
Yeah, and me and the mayor were there the one day because Taylor came out to get the measurements and see if it was his piece of equipment, so he could see if he could even fix it. And it was the day when the snow had all melted, and the ground needs repaired there too. Like, it was flooded out. Like, you couldn't go there and play on a day where there's any rain. So first step is get more wood chips in there, right? Level that ground out, make it presentable there. And go that route and just, spruce it up little by little.
All right, let's have a motion to adjourn here and then we'll finish this up. Your turn.
Okay.
Give us a thing. Hey, do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I second.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion, Mrs. Mara seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the prayer. Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority, and may we use it in our directives for the common good, for thy honor and glory. Amen. Thank you. Okay, call to order. It is 6:32. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Present.
Mr. Joyce,
Present.
Mr. Conrad,
Present.
Mrs. Mara, Mr. Thompson.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go to public comment. Anyone would like to say anything? Please. Please turn the microphone on.
Is that better?
Yes, but
Okay. Debbie King, 43 East Shore Boulevard. I was going to ask about what's going on with the vacant house on Key Waden. Down towards the end, it's the only one down there that's vacant. I had the address written down, but I left all that at home. It's been vacant for, I don't know, 11 years now, I think. And I mean, I think as a village, maybe mowed the lawn there once a couple of years ago. But they're taking good care of the lawn now. But it's still vacant, which that's just a temptation for trouble. I think.
If you can give me that address, I can do a little research and see if I can find out what the story is with it.
Okay. Actually, I wasn't even going to bring it up because our, I can't think of his name now either. I will get you the address. If anybody has a,
Gary Gray, is that what you-
yeah, Gary Gray's not here.
Yeah.
So
But I can find out who the current owner is and if it's in foreclosure and figure out who's responsible for it. And,
I have that name even.
okay. Well,
I will call you.
Get me, do you have?
I
you have
just,
my
I
information?
just,
It's on the website.
I'm sorry, your
My
number?
information is on the Timberlake website.
Okay.
So
All right, I'll give you I'll give you a call and I've got the woman's name. And the cell that she had when she was living here, it belonged to her mom and dad. Her dad died and she put her mom in a nurse. She came up here to live with her and then she put her in a nursing home. So actually their phone numbers at that time are in the phone book from 2011.
well, let me know because
I'll call. Okay,
We can figure out more about it,
okay.
but that's not why you came.
That is why well, one of the reasons why I came, yes. The other is to hear all of you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie.
Okay. Moving on, reading disposition of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the regular council meeting minutes of January 17th, 2023, please? Mr. Joyce makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Thompson seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve special council meeting February 1st, 2023, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Conrad seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next, get on the legislation. Resolution 2023-7. Do I have a motion? This resolution consenting to the mayor's appointment of Margaret Joyce as a member of council for the village of Timberlake, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
I make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Thompson seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Staying.
You don't have to abstain to this motion to suspend the rules. You can
Okay.
vote on that.
All right. I say aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara, Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Thank you. And do I have a motion to approve resolution 2023-7, please? The appointment of Margaret Joyce as member of council for the village of Timberlake.
I make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Do I have a
I'll second it.
Mr. Thompson seconds. Discussion? The discussion heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Abstain.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, congratulations.
Hey.
Yes.
Please step well.
You would
I think
step
you're
right
gonna
in
probably
front of
stay
the
over there.
podium here,
Right, in front of the podium.
and then, you want to go up?
You want to come up and hold the Bible? Sure.
Gotta get your bio.
That way we'll get this on the YouTube video, the right in front of.
Oh, in front. Stop the music.
Yeah, change seats. You gotta change seats. You gotta get up here.
No one asked her if she was sure yet. Maybe we'll give her a night.
Sounds like a law firm.
What's that?
Sounds like a law firm.
Joyce and Joyce?
All right, so technically he's still ahead because he's the mayor.
Well, yeah.
Okay, welcome. You're right to work. Okay, next, we have resolution 2023-8. A resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Kenneth Rafferty. At this moment, I would like to have a motion to suspend or to table this, please, this resolution.
I will move to table it.
Okay, Mr. Joyce makes a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, Mr. Conrad seconds. Roll call, please.
Miss-
Do that? Would you rather leave it on first reading rather than tabling it?
No, we're just gonna table it.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce. Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
aye,
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
okay, thank you very much. Okay, next is ordinance 4-2023, an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC 2023 Energized Community Grant. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
make a motion to suspend.
Conrad makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce, Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara, Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye,
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving ordinance 4-2023? Accepting NOPEC Energized Community Grant, please?
Make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Conrad seconds. Discussion?
Can you give me the cliff notes on this? Can you give me any context on the grant, on the back?
On the back, I think.
So
Ideas for grant projects,
Gotcha,
ideas, didn't say for certain, this is
Right.
idea.
right. Okay, thank you.
Those are the things that we can use it for.
Yes, once again. Thank you.
we,
Are
We-
they back operating?
Pardon me?
Are they back operating?
Not yet. No, not that I heard.
Right, so by accepting this, does that affect the acceptance of this grant?
I don't believe so.
Because they're not,
No,
okay,
well, they just are not pushing their service of electrical distribution, right?
Yeah.
Like they're still an entity and they still running a business. They're just not the cheapest right now. So you can opt out of it, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why they dropped that.
They
Yeah.
unsubscribed everyone.
Well, you had to unsubscribe. They gave you the option. to move. They suggested it because they just couldn't produce power as cheap as others.
Right.
But I think this is something we've gotten before.
right.
Every year.
It's pretty much an annual grant and there's also some funds that are still available from previous years, which we have to use, otherwise we lose them. So if anybody has any ideas, I mean, there's not a lot of money available, but we may be able to do something smaller.
We,
What sort of things have you used this for?
Generally, it's related to anything that could be considered energy efficiency for the most part.
did we use it on the part of the generator?
No, that was ARPA.
Okay, ARPA money.
I believe we use it for the lights, LED lights.
I was just gonna say, if we switch these to LEDs, that would be the kind of thing. that would
Right.
be.
Right.
Which we did.
We also need insulation in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
idea.
so we can get
Insulation.
insulation.
But it has to be future spending. It can't be something that we've already spent money on.
Actually, they reimburse us. It's one of those reimbursement grants. So
But
we,
you have to get it first. and then
Right.
Do it and then they.
correct,
So
So it's not like with something we could have done last year, we can say.
Right.
"Oh,
right. It's not that generous. Has to be a future
Basic
project.
stuff that get put in.
No, that's already
And that was.
So
yeah,
if-
different, but
Okay, I understand. but
ARPA.
Had that been because of the efficiencies that came with the new equipment, would that have been something that would qualify?
Possibly, but,
Yeah, it says energy efficient air conditioners.
but we used ARPA for that.
Yeah. But the LED lighting is.
that the LED lighting is the one that comes to mind, because that can be a little pricey to do the transition, but the lighting is so much crisper. Yeah.
Less energy.
Less energy.
And it lasts, the light bulbs last.
Yeah,
That's what they
cheap,
say.
cheaper in the long
I was
run.
gonna say, that's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you can do energy efficient blinds too, stuff like that.
Oh.
There's certain ones that qualify if they're
Do
particular.
disco balls qualify?
I don't know.
I like this one here, energy efficient metal roof system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Service
Oh,
garage.
yeah, there is, yeah.
Service garage needs
Both dim,
metal roof.
the direct sunlight.
Mhm.
Service garage insulation too. You can go insulate.
Yeah.
So there, it looks like there's a lot of options.
Metal roof.
Door replacement,
Nice.
et cetera.
Right, but it doesn't hurt us to accept it.
No,
No,
Okay, any other
unless your lights start
comments or
going. down.
questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
All right.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Okay, moving on to the reports, mayor's report. Just want to bring up maybe a Timberlake State of the Village address, some things that we did this year. We were able to purchase a brand new snowplow, and since we purchased it, it has not snowed. Which is a wonderful thing. But it looks pretty and it's nice and clean and, so. Anyway, so that was a great thing. And, like I said, we were able to do it mainly because also we were able to, we did tremendous job, everyone did on, saving the village a lot of money last year. We came in 110,000 under budget. We were able to take 60,000 of that and allocate 20,000 toward a new police cruiser, 20,000 toward the service truck, which we used toward the service truck, another 20,000 for village improvements, which we are going to be doing improvements here this spring and summer. So it was a great thing we were able to do. Another thing we were able to do is put in a backup generator. We actually used it twice. It came in handy. We lost power to our police department, so that really worked out well. And I believe it also kicked in once when we had an event here. It was a small event, but either way, I believe it kicked in.
It was
So-
for a funeral luncheon,
Funeral
so,
lunch, yeah, so
Yeah.
it worked out well. So thank God we got that in just in time, but that's worked out really well. Then the biggest thing is we replaced the new HVAC in the village hall and the police department throughout. There were 3 units total. And the biggest thing is we were finally at air conditioning in the bathrooms. The biggest complaint was anyone who had a wedding here, poor brides and bridesmaids had to go in that bathroom and just sweat to death, and it was just terrible. So we finally have AC in there, AC everywhere, so it will really work out well. So those are the major things that we did this year. Again, upcoming projects, we're looking at a lot of playground improvements this year. We're gonna be putting some new mulch in there. We're gonna be upgrading the equipment that we do have. And also seeing on some new grants for other equipment, which is great. Ryan's doing a great job on that. Again, we want to also, I'm looking at storm catch and basin rebuilding and replacement program. There's some programs out there where we can possibly get some grant money for that, but we want to get out there and rebuild a lot of these catch basins this year. So we're going to do a lot of that with our service guys. I'm going to show them how to do it, and we should be able to do them one at a time. We'll just take care of them this summer. So that'll be a catch basin program. And then again, we're also going to address various routes and storm sewer lines. There's a couple areas on Shawandasi, Owassa, actually all the streets. There's a few on all of them. So basically, wherever we have areas, we're going to just be snaking those areas out, getting the roots out of there, and just upgrading some of those areas. And then we're also looking at grants to upgrade, again, this catch basin and lines adjacent to those catch basins. Then the final thing I'd like to work on also is the beach step repair. We'd like to possibly do those in sections we'll do a section at a time and get those rebuilt and or repaired, and that's what we're gonna end up doing on those. So looking at a lift system, the only problem is those are very, very expensive, and then there's a maintenance issue, also then a safety factor we have to look at. But I'm looking at some of those options also. And that's about all I have for this year. So other than that, I'll turn it over to our solicitor for Mr. O'Leary for solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything specific to report, but I do have a request to go into executive session to discuss litigation involving the village. And we'll discuss that in executive session. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next moving on to council members, Hardwick.
Basically, all I have for the village hall right now is, that it will be painted. In March. It'll be painted this color here, which is close to that color there, but it'll be with a different finish. And the service department says they'll get it done in a couple days, so hopefully it'll look nice and bright. Well, yeah. We don't have a piano to move, so we should be okay with that. Yeah. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Conrad, grants, playgrounds.
Sewers, all the above.
Sewers.
So sewers, I guess I'll start there. I got a call, you just mentioned it, the remedy that we're enacting this year, the best we can with the limited resources and funds, but Gary Saba, if I'm pronouncing his last name properly, 11 Oyawasa called about his, flooding every time we get big onslaught of water or rain. I think we're all aware that we struggle with handling those 100-year rains that we seem to be getting multiple times a year now. There's a lot of water lately, less snow, but still a lot of water. Precipitation level hasn't changed. So we're gonna, like the mayor mentioned in his report, we're gonna snake out all the lines, make sure there's no blockages, make sure they're handling the water that they should be able to handle, and work on repairing those catch basins. And you know, the problem is there's not a whole lot of funding out there for grants and sewers, and they are big projects, right? They're probably the biggest infrastructure project, you know, besides a bridge repair that you could undertake. So the likelihood of us getting big chunks of money to size our village properly is, say a lot of prayers, I guess. That's our best hope. And hopefully something comes our way, but we're gonna do the best we can to manage the sewer system we have, because those are the cards we're dealt. And our service guys do a great job. The mayor does a great job getting out there and handling it as we can. So I guess the only thing I have for the community is, you know, make sure that the fall time leaves are pulled away from that. You keep the grass level around it, and you kind of treat it as your own and try and take care of it, stop stuff from going in there as best you can. And if you have unlevel spots in your yard, you know, look at grading your yard, leveling it out, you know, stuff like that can help too. But there's only so much that we can do with the current system. Grants, I think I talked ad nauseum about that earlier. Sorry that went on so long, but I guess it just shows how much work that I put in, and the mayor helped with that, and CT consultants. So we're hunting. We're in the hunting expedition right now. See what's out there, and hopefully we can score some money. I think that's all I have on that. And then the playground stuff I was talking about, like we were out there. I mean, the ground repair has to be first. You know, if we're gonna put a new structure in, then we can get grants or get more funding for that. Then we have, you almost want to time it up, because you're gonna have to tear the ground up to put in the new structure, right? Those are anchored to concrete so far into the ground. So, you know, I think Cindy put it right. It's probably going to be a phased approach, right? Phase one is, you know, spruce up what we have. I thought, you know, we can go get like that deck paint that you would stain your deck with and paint the railroad ties, you know, the hunter green Timberlake color, make that look nicer. You know, paint this current structure, fix the broken pieces of equipment on it. Spruce that up, get some surface level stuff that's a little cheaper and a little more accessible, and then go from there. I think we have like 15 grand set aside this year currently in the parks budget. That's a little piece, and then we do have the ARPA money still sitting.
There is some ARPA money, which I think, if I don't know if it was Perry Township that used it for a accessible swing.
The expression swings.
Okay.
Used for that.
So that apparently is a possibility
Yeah, and I just saw another one
for
that,
some of them.
I don't know, I saw in the News Herald if it's North Perry Village or one of the Perry villages. It's using it for a vehicle of some sort. It was just in the News Herald.
Perry Village.
It is North Perry.
North Perry Village, we're buying two police vehicles.
So it looks
Yeah.
like the,
$95,000 and they're going to, they took two vehicles that they had and they sold them and the money came back, so that'll make up the difference to get both of those vehicles for the police department.
nice. Yeah, so it seems like the restrictions that were out there initially have loosened a little bit on that money. So we could potentially use that for the playground as well. So that's another piece of money we might have there, and then budget some more later on at the end of the year if we have overrun again to carry on to phase two. But I think that's our best plan of action currently with where we're at and the state of affairs of our finances. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Joyce, finance.
Just a couple of things. First of all, I want to compliment Ryan on the amount of work that he did to pull this information together. It's tremendous when you can see it all at once and sort of start to wrap your head around all of the details. Not settled yet, obviously, but it's a really, really good start. Thank you. Secondly, I'd like to officially welcome my better half. onto the council. I'm a little biased, but I think that she's going to make a great council person. And
Your dinners will never be the same.
Somebody speak.
Never. Never.
I just want her to know that had it been appropriate to vote aye, I would have. But I definitely am very happy about her doing it. And the final thing, I received a letter today from the Lake County Department of Utilities. I'm not sure exactly what this is about. I talked to the mayor a little bit before the meeting. But it is requiring me to put a backflow, a pressure backflow assembly into my yard on my water system or into my house on my water system. And I'm going to have to do a little more research to find out, first of all, what this refers to, why I got the letter, but I also felt that it might be something that other people in the village will be getting. And if there are enough people, it might make sense if we are able to arrange for a particular service provider to come and do this and then offer it to all of the people on a grand scale for pricing. Rather than have people go to their own plumbers. So if it turns out that it's something that a lot of people got and are being asked to do this, then maybe there's no date in terms of when this has to be done, but I would imagine that
When did you get the letter?
today. So it's dated the 16th. So I'll call them tomorrow and find out what this is all about and how many homes in the village might be affected by this, and then I'll probably follow up on this in our meeting in March.
Okay.
Did it say you're financially responsible in the letter or? How's it
It
worded?
tells me that I need to consult my plumber on the installation of backflow devices.
And it came from the county?
Came from the town.
So on
As
your
it's
dime.
not the water company's meter.
So water system maintenance, he's Lake County Department of Utilities.
All right, thank you. Okay. Thanks, Amara.
I was given this letter by a resident who asked me to read this tonight. It is from a Mr. Doug Rich from the Captains, our Captains Ballpark. For community days at the Captains Ballpark, we want to make your community shine. There are so many fun ways to make a day at the ballpark all about Timberlake. Some of these include mayor throws the first pitch, local choir or sings national anthem or person, pre-game parade around the field, on-field game activities, challenges honoring local sports teams, local heroes, tables for your community organizations around the stadium concourse, welcome sign on scoreboard. I would love to sit down with somebody from the community to discuss more details on how to make that day special for everyone from your community. Please let me know what day and time works best for you. Well, this fell into my lap. So I guess I'm asking council, is it okay if I go ahead with this? And talk to somebody at the Community Day at Classic Park. They call it the Timberlake Community Day at Classic Park. So they want to see how we will participate. You want to throw out?
I would be willing to go with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Great.
I am a partial season ticket holder with
Oh, okay.
the captain, so I'd be happy to participate with you.
Does anybody have any objection to me just finding out what's about?
No.
Because they usually participate in our home days, but they can't do it this year. So they're inviting us back to their event. So I will see what this is all about. And if anyone wants to throw out the first pitch, Mr. Softball over there.
Ready?
I said,
I'm going to spring training tomorrow, so I'll be ready.
but it does say mayor, but mayor, maybe you could sing
It's okay,
instead.
I can-
Maybe you could do the
Oh,
national
really?
anthem.
Yes.
instead.
I'll pass on both. How's that?
Right, may you or may not. Very, very good, Jared. I also have,
It can go well or it can go really bad, some of those first pitches you see. So we'll do some practice if you're gonna do it, Mayor.
and I also got an odd request, so I said I would mention it, so I would. I had one real estate agent reach out to me and I had another neighbor reach out to me. They said there's no chickens allowed in no animal, no fowl, no animals, no farm animals allowed in Timberlake. I'm like, no, there's not. And I had one person, I would move into Timberlake and she was, she really meant it. She could have built a beautiful home. I like to raise chickens, so I'm just throwing it out there. I've had 2 inquiries about raising chickens. I don't know if it is because we have chicken plants being blown up and egg plants, processing plants being destroyed. I don't know, but I do know people in Euclid raise chickens. I purchased eggs for people, raise chickens in Euclid. I'm just throwing, I don't know if we want to work on this. I'm just letting you know.
You think dealing with trees
Chicken,
is a headache?
yeah,
Open the door.
okay, fair enough. So you've dealt with chickens.
Horses, chickens. Turkeys.
Oh, we
Remember,
can go, we did, yeah.
Yeah, wild turkey.
And we have enough wild turkey. So I'm just letting you know, I promised I'd mention it tonight, and so I did. So if it falls on deaf ears, it falls on deaf ears, but I just promised I would mention it. And Mr. O'Leary says the pain in the butt.
Number of dogs that we have in the neighborhood and the fact that I've seen the coyote in the neighborhood and deer.
I'd take care of your chickens.
Yeah, it would,
They
it
take
would.
care of chickens.
And foxes,
You see foxes in the neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, beautiful ones. Beautiful ones. Coyote this morning, by the way, mini Wawa Drive. Yep.
and if you don't get up at the crack of dawn and your neighbor's got a chicken, you will be getting up.
That's
with a
just the
rooster.
rooster.
Well,
They
there's
don't
usually a
wanna push
rooster.
them out.
That's just the rooster.
Just hens, we're only allowed hens.
So the roosters, not equitable.
Hens only.
My daughter's future mother-in-law has a hen house and she has 4 hens that lay eggs every day. And she lives in the city of Cleveland. So it's possible. They also have a dog. But the dog didn't seem to mind the chickens. So, but I know that our dogs don't like other dogs or deer running by our fence line. So they're out there, patrolling it.
Protecting.
Yeah, doing their job.
And our one dog has a very strong prey drive for killing. And the other dog has sort of a strong prey drive, but not for killing, more for playing. So try to bring a skunk in the house. I mean, it's
Cool.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, Mr. Thompson, trees.
I have nothing to report at this time, but I'd also like to thank Margaret for joining us. Good luck. And I don't know, I can understand a lot of people's problems with having livestock in Timberlake, but I wouldn't be opposed to chickens and cheap eggs on their side of the road.
Just to throw it out there.
Have you priced out the coops?
We
There's actually movable coops. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're actually on wheels and like pick it up almost like a rickshaw, and
Wow.
you can actually move the coop around. Cause I talked to some people in Euclid, they just have it totally penned in.
That's how they keep them free range. They can
Mhm.
rotate them.
Correct.
Right, and you get beautiful grass where they've been. When I was in Madison, I had 30.
Wow.
30 had, well, I had. roosters as well. But, they're good. We do that, well, I'm gonna be number one.
we
you
fund
go.
our
I love 'em.
playground by selling the eggs, sanctioned Timberlake sanctioned eggs.
There was a campground up the street from me in Madison and I put out the cooler with, ice cube thing in it and put it at the end of the driveway and people for the campground would buy them, leave the money and away they went with fresh eggs. Yeah,
Can't beat it.
you cannot.
Okay. Ms. Joyce, would you like to say anything? What?
Get ready for next.
Well, thank you.
Hey, Mayor, if I could, I forgot one thing that I wanted to touch on. Some thoughts too around doing some sort of fundraising for the playground. I thought it might be cool to do like a brick fundraiser. I don't know if you've ever seen when they build new stadiums, paver bricks. Villagers or people in the community could buy it for their loved ones or remembrance bricks. And we could do something like that and potentially bring a little more revenue to make the job a little bigger. Maybe something that the Village Club, I know it's struggling right now. So if anyone out there listening or anyone reads the Timberlake Times later, I know the Village Club definitely needs support. And, that's a part of the aside from our government that helps make a lot of stuff happen in this community. And frankly, we don't function as well without them. So, potentially if they get staff back up or I'd be willing to help a little bit as I can. They could help fundraise some money for the playground as well, and make it a little better.
It's a good idea.
But there's some options out there and I think a nice brick structure would be nice and everyone can remember Timberlake and every time I go down to the Indians game, my dad had one. I can point it out to my kids and it's a nice family heirloom. And I know there's a lot of family ties to the
Good idea.
village, so. Just wanted to mention that. I forgot all about that. It was probably my best idea all day.
It is.
Forgot about it.
Great, okay. All right, one other thing I forgot is the Timberlake, the committee assignments. I'll just go over those real quickly. Everything's gonna pretty much stay the same. I just split off one from Nancy here, but for finance, public record retention and ordinances, it'll be Jerry Joyce is the committee chair, and Kevin Thompson and Cindy Hardwick will be on the committee. For safety and service, it'll be Nancy Marr should be the committee chair, and Jerry Joyce and Ryan Conrad will be on the committee. For trees, it'll be Kevin Thompson as the committee chair, and then Nancy Marr and Margaret Joyce will be on the committee. For Village Hall, it'll be Cindy Hardwick, should be the committee chair. For President Pro Tem, and then also Nancy Marr and Kevin Thompson will be on the committees. For grants and sewers, it'll be Ryan Conrad, his committee chair, Margaret Joyce and Cindy Hardwick as committee members. Then in parks will be Margaret Joyce as the committee chair, and Ryan Conrad and Jerry Joyce as the committee members. So that'll be the assignment for that. And I gave everyone a copy of that. And they all thank you for helping me out in that respect. So it works out real well. Next, fiscal officer, monthly financial reports.
Okay, so our general fund through January 31st is at $224,977. Our month-to-date revenue for January was $27,631 versus expenditures of $50,079, net difference of approximately negative $22,448. We transferred $44,620 to Fund 3902, which is for the paving improvement OPWC debt service. And that's for our street improvement loan payments for 2023. Expenditures for the month were generally in line with our estimates, and payroll was somewhat higher due to more hours being worked by our hourly police employees. Our general fund revenue through January 31st is $7,102 higher than last year. And this is primarily due to increased income tax collection, and revenues exceeded projections by approximately the same amount. Although it is early in the year, we are estimating another surplus for 2023 in the general fund of about $107,000. And this, of course, would change if we decided to transfer money at the end of the year to the village hall or police cruiser capital funds. Other significant fund activity and miscellaneous, we put a $50,000 down payment on the new service truck. It is a 2022 Chevy Silverado 3500 HD. And this is, remember, this is just for January, so you'll see the rest of the payment in February. This was paid for out of our street construction maintenance and repair fund 2011. There was also a special item receipt from USAA Insurance into the State Highway Fund 2021. We were originally informed by Love Insurance that USAA would directly pay the contractor for the guardrail repair. However, the insurance claim was actually paid directly to the village. This money has since been appropriated by council and was paid out to All M Landscaping, the contractor who completed this work. The village also made biannual payments of $7,086.95 for our sanitary sewer OWDA loan and $1,415.52 for the street improvement OPWC loan. $500 in refunds were issued from our 9901 hall rental security deposit refund fund, and there was no other significant activity in our other funds. Our auditors will be coming, will be starting on Monday, February 27th. So they'll actually be working in the hall from about 9:30 to 4:30. So I will give them a key so they can access it while they're here. And actually the state of Ohio outsourced our next several audits to Charles Harris. The state has the ability to do that, and they chose to do so. That's all I have.
John, do you know how long they plan on being here?
At least a week, I would say probably 2 weeks to be safe.
Will it interfere with the gentleman painting, do you think?
Yes, I
Yep.
would not, I would advise them not to paint
Oh,
that week anyway.
okay, so you're telling me the first week of March?
They will be here starting Monday.
This Monday.
Yep, the 27th.
27th.
The 27th and then what is that? Yeah.
Yeah, so at least next week, I would say for sure. They may, based on the number of hours they anticipate spending, it may run into 2 weeks pretty easily.
All right. Okay. I'll look that up on my calendar and let the guys know. It's never gonna get paid.
Yeah, thank you. Next, police chief report. Chief is by Zoom. Go ahead, chief.
I am here. I do not have a report to read to you because I was not there to print it out of the computer in the police car. I'm just here taking part of the meeting, enjoying seeing all of you. And I will be back next Friday.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, next is maintenance and zoning property report. Gary Gray is not here today, so I don't have a report on that, so we'll catch up with him next month. I know it's been very, very slow though. I did talk to him. He just says that no one's really doing much right now. I mean, even though the weather is, we're not having snow, but people are still in winter mode, number one, and number two, it's a little too cold to do anything, especially with the wind out there, so. Okay, moving on, purchases and approvals. Do I have a motion to approve the January 2023 financial reports, please?
I make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Do I have a second?
One second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce, Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Okay, thank you. And moving on, do we have any other public comments, questions? If Okay, none at this time. Okay. Do I have a motion then to enter into executive session to discuss pending litigation, please? Mr. Joyce makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Conrad seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce, Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Thank you.
I would like the chief to be part of this conversation for the little bit that I have. So I'm gonna call her on the cell phone and put her on speaker.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a motion to
Person to end or no?
end, executive session, please?
We're doing that on the record. now.
So moved.
Mr. Carver,
I'll second.
Mr. Joyce seconds, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Moran.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And do I have a motion to enter into executive session? What's the topic?
That's compensation.
Your mic.
Discuss compensation of a public employee or official.
Okay, do I have a motion to this, enter the executive session, please?
I make a motion?
Samara makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Thompson seconds, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Good off now?
Okay. And do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Make a motion?
Nancy Meyer makes a motion. Do I have a second? This is Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
People's business is never finished.
I have to put you down for a minute.
Okay, it is 7:47.